everybody. My name is Yona Signo, and I am the founder of EVS, EVS Academy, Empowered Virtual Services, as well as Kaya Services. Today, we're bringing to you a new segment, and it's our first episode, so thank you so much for joining us. Today's episode, or today's segment, is called Usapang Kahusayan. So in other words, it's excellence talk. So we started this, I decided to have this segment with the thought of, being able to promote the Philippines, and to discuss the behaviors we want to see in the Philippines, both professionally and personally, and particularly in the virtual assistant and freelancing industry. As you know, as I'm the founder of EVS and Kaya Services, we are, EVS, I started EVS with the thought of empowering Filipinos so that they can make a local and global impact through their, courage work, their work ethic, and just their dedication to their work. And I started Kaya Services with the thought of empowering business owners here in Australia and beyond, so that they are able to continue to help the people that they're passionate about through their business. And so I thought that this particular segment, Usapang Kahusayan, is something that is important. It's something that there are times where there are certain behaviors that we go about, and perhaps we've created habits around it. And so I want to talk about those. And because at the end of the day, if we don't talk about it, we won't be able to see particular change. And so it's important for us to be able to discuss things openly, to have an open communication, open discussion, to have an open mind. So having that openness to receive new ideas in order to be able to move forward and create a change. Because at the end of the day, the way we want the world, so whether it's our professional world or our own personal world, so our world, how we define our own world, in order for us to actually see any improvements, we have to be the change we want to see. And so, I'm hoping that this particular conversations that we have here is going to be, bring our viewers ideas on, just a different perspective. And hopefully we're going to create change, and it'll be that ripple effect so that we can see and show the world, how amazing Philippines is, and more importantly, how amazing the Filipino, virtual assistants and freelancers are. So I'm super, super excited because Usapang Kahusayan as a show I've co-hosted with Martine De Luna, who's a transformational coach, a leadership coach, leadership mentor, I should say. And we've been, Martine and I have actually been working closely together. She's been taking me through a lot of things with both my businesses, both Kaya Services and EVS, as well as myself as a leader. So I'm so excited to have her as my co-host. So without further ado, here's Martine De Luna.
Hi, Yona. Hello from Manila.
Hi, Martine. Oh, I forgot to say that actually. Hi, everybody. I'm here in Sydney, and we've got Martine, they're in Manila, but we speak to each other weekly, so it feels like we're in one place. And
I know.
The beauties of technology. But Martine, thank you for being my co-host for Usapang Kahusayan, the Excellence Talk.
Yes.
Would it be okay for you to introduce yourselves to our viewers?
Yes, thanks, Yona. So I'm Martine De Luna. I am a leadership mentor. So I really am a coach for coaches, for business owners, mostly female business owners. And I'm so excited because this co-hosting, this collaboration is really a fruit of a lot of the work that Yona and I have been doing, like in the background, especially being part of her success team, for herself as a leader herself. And this theme, this excellence talk, Usapang Kahusayan, was really something that was birthed out of a conversation we had been having, a topic that we had been conversing on the subject of excellence of the Filipino virtual worker or the Filipino freelancer, the Filipino virtual services provider. And this really came from a lot of our own frustrations and disappointments in our lives and experiences, and maybe the disappointments and frustrations of clients who had hired Filipino freelancers and virtual service providers. So we said, okay, there seems to be a pattern here. There seems to be something that is being repeated here, maybe culturally. And if nobody's going to speak on it, it's just going to perpetuate. And so Yona and I felt very strongly that there needed to be a platform to talk about it, not to berate anyone, not to put anybody down,
Definitely not,
but to encourage Filipino virtual service providers to be aware of maybe things that we are not aware of, and this is not to say that Yona and I are, better. We're not, we have our own things to deal with. We have our own habits and behaviors as well, too. But I believe that growth happens when we all recognize that we need help. And growth can be amplified when we have mindful conversations around them. And so that's what Excellence Talk, Usapang Kahusayan is, because it's really an invitation for those of us who work online to really create a gold standard for the work that we do and for the country that we represent. So that's how I see it. Yeah.
I love it. Isn't it just amazing how articulate Martine is?
Maybe it's because I've been gabbing online for 10 years.
So that's exactly what I wanted to say.
That's it. That's our show.
And that's it. Okay, no, but that's exactly what that's exactly how this show came about. Martine and I, we catch up almost every week. 3 weeks of the month, and so we are able to share these. Well, I'm able to share as a leader in terms of the things that I witness. So the things that we speak about. For anybody who knows me, I'm quite factual. So I don't make things up. I always say to Martine, these are some behaviors that I see and I witness. And so we try to dissect it, because behaviors don't just come about out of thin air, right, Martine? There's things that occur, in our past, our heritage, just the way we've grown up. Just the things that we see, we even watch, they all influence the way that we are. So, I really hope that this particular show with Martine will, provide everybody with a different perspective. And perhaps it might even be a moment for people to realize that, I might be doing that behavior. But the thing about it is that we don't want you. This isn't like what Martine said. We're not berating anybody. So if you find that these are the things that you do, so you can stop. And the beauty about life is that we have the opportunity to make change, right? We all have the opportunity to make change. And like Martine said, we are not perfect. I am definitely far from perfect. But I do strive every day to do better and be better, which is exactly what EVS stands for. We really want to make sure that we empower Filipino virtual workers to be able to really wave the Philippine flag on a local and global stage and say, I'm proud to be Filipino, and I will turn up. I will turn up to be the best that I am, and I'll do. I'll make that effort. So. Super excited. But so I guess for today, it's just a really great opportunity for us to just just talk about what are we. I mean, there's a few things, right, that's involved.
A few things, quite a few. And by few, I mean a few.
But I guess I suppose I just quickly, I wanted to just share the values of EVS. So obviously there's integrity, loyalty, communication, teamwork, accountability, responsibility, and trust. So, they're not, we don't take things lighthearted, right? But at the same time, these are all positives that we really have in all of us. And so we chose that as the values because I think it's one of those things that we are all capable to do. We really are, just I'm just going to say it, Martine, just showing up.
Just showing up and showing up with the awareness that I'm showing up representing my entire culture, my entire country, because sometimes we show up for ourselves and that's all good. But we all come with a lot of things that we're working through, right? Our own behaviors. And then we forget that, and this is not singling out the Filipino. This is in every culture, Yeah.
I think it's just, I think the reason why it was more about the Philippines is because it is a Philippine, our business is about, being able to empower, mentor Philippine workers. And so, and obviously we've both worked closely with Filipino virtual assistants and freelancers. So we've both experienced firsthand, just the different, should I call it nuances of the Filipino workers. But again, it is something that is within every culture, within every country. But I guess for us, being Filipinos ourselves, I suppose we're able to really try to understand where it's come from, and because with the Filipinos, obviously there's so much things, right? If I mention just a couple of things, everybody will nod their head to say yes, that has influenced, right? So family,
family, and in the family, the nuances of our parents.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Your parents in particular, or whoever you held as an authority figure growing up, that has a lot of bearing as to the kinds of habits and personality traits that you bring into your freelancing experience.
Yes. And doesn't even stop there. It's like from our parents to our lolas and lolos. Before that,
generation,
because it's all learned behavior, right? Or things that we observe. So one of the things that Martine and I always talk about, it's like, if you want to demonstrate a certain behavior, or if there's something that you want to see around you, you have to demonstrate it. So as a leader, you have to demonstrate those behaviors that you want your team to also carry out. So if you don't show up, or if you don't communicate, or if you don't have integrity, then the team will go, oh, that's normal. So perhaps
I can be that way.
Yeah, perhaps it's acceptable.
Right.
So we leaders, and I try to demonstrate these things. And again, I'm not perfect, but I do try my best whenever I can. Although, I always say to my team members that, oh gosh, I'm so tired today. and it's not to say that I'm not communicative, but at least my responses might just be one worded, yeah. And usually I'll be oh yes, and have sentences. But then when I'm tired, it's yes,
I'm just tired.
But the fact is, even though I'm tired, I turn up. I show up. I don't just give up on my responsibility as a leader. I still turn up and I'll say, hey guys, I'm not feeling well. I am accessible, or I'm tired, or even the kids are tired, but I'm accessible and I will still respond. It may not be instantly than my usual, but I'm still going to show up, right?
Yeah, it's about being clear. It's really about being clear. And I think that was one of the things that we observed, that in Filipino culture, again, this is not to put us down, but it's just to raise awareness that sometimes, let's say we wait to be given permission to express how we're feeling. Very, very embedded in our culture to hold back what it is that we are really asking for, or that we would like to express. but in the best of ways. And so I think one of the questions that we wanted to ask the audience is, what Filipino traits, such as that, have we been criticized for? Right. One of the things that we were talking about that comes up for, let's say, clients in other cultures is, being in command of what we want to express. Like, let's say, here's a classic example. Something happens in the family here in the Philippines, and then we ghost the client because we're shy to say, oh, like there is something that I have to handle or that I have to be responsible over, and it's going to take me away from the hours that I would normally clock in this week for work.
Exactly.
Right. And that's one thing that I know you and I had come into a discussion around that. That we have a hard time maybe culturally owning. Like, this is what's happening. This is what may affect the work schedule this week, and I would like to express it. Right. So that's just one point.
And I think, just again, with the whole showing up thing, it's like, even though that we are experiencing personal issues, be it with family, even a pet, or, something that's happened within the community, we, what's important that, because some people will say, it's already, the time has passed. So you know what? It's okay.
Yeah, so I don't need to explain
why. It's actually not okay. It's actually better, and it actually shows you as a person, and you continue to show up as a person who is who communicates, somebody that is still reliable. Like, yes, you may have not turned up at that point in time, but if you explain to them, even if it's 2 hours after, as long as you come back and you say, hey, this is what happened. I've recently, I haven't been able to attend, a session, and I message, even though it's already started. I've messaged and I'll say, I've been caught up with XYZ. I will catch up on a replay. But the fact is, I had the choice, right? I had the choice to either go shamed and go, oh, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to pretend like it never happened. Or I actually send a message and go, I'm sorry, I got caught up with some things. I'm human, which is okay. So I shouldn't be so hard on myself. And I will catch up. But the thing is, at least I've told the person, because at the end of the day, right? And we're not saying that this is now a reason for you to just not show up to things because people will just understand. This is not that. At the same time, I guess it's like one of those things that if you're able to just verbalize and communicate, the other person will then understand your situation, because you know what? There are some people might actually, like, the person who's waiting for you might actually be worried. Like, you might actually be worried about your well-being, and we
will never know. Yeah,
exactly. And so they'll be like, did something happen to her? Because that has happened to me in the past. They didn't message me. They didn't let me know what was going on. And so I thought, okay, what's going on? And I was literally worried. Like, I was worried. I was really I messaged some of the team and I was just like, have you heard from such and such? And they were like, no. And I'm like, oh, that's so weird, because it was so unlike them. It was so unlike them because I knew that they were reliable, that they were, that they communicated with me. And so, it's one of those things where it was just like, just a simple message, even just to say, even if you said something like this, Martine, like, I can't come, I'll explain later.
Right. There's because at that point there's clarity. So when there's clarity, then there's no anxiety on either side, because I communicated to, whether it's your employer, whether it's your client, I've communicated that I'm experiencing a certain experience right now and I can't get into it. But once I get over this, once I go through it, once it is past, then at least this person is aware because I informed them. So it's really at the end of the day, it's communication.
Exactly.
And communication open, keeping the lines open between contractor and virtual provider,
Yeah. I mean, we do it all the time, right? When we're offered food and we're full or something like that, and we say, "Oh no, I'm full," or I've already eaten. And so let's express ourselves. Let's not, like you said, with that clarity, it takes away the anxiety. So let's just express ourselves.
Clarity
give ourselves the permission to just say, oh yeah, no, I won't be able to attend work today because of XYZ. But I'll be there, And so it's about being accountable for your actions as well. Because at the end of the day, like one of those things that we always say is that we could always say that, oh, I communicate, I'm reliable, I'm this. And people say that during interviews. They say that, during their cover, like sometimes in their cover letter, if they have one when they're applying for a job. That's like another episode, but and so it's just one of those things that even if you say it, like you say it on your CV, you say it in your cover letter, but if you don't act that way, then it's like people will just go, oh no, they're not like that, because actions speak louder than words.
There's no alignment with that, right? And you're not being. I hate overusing this word, but you're not being authentic.
But it's true, yes.
But it's true, right?
It's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, it's one of those things where I guess I think I'm not too sure if everybody has noticed. Actually, we should probably say a quick hello to to everybody who's tuned in. So we've got Christine, hello. I've got my mum and my dad, of course.
Ariane and Tin.
Yes.
And Michelle, of course.
Yes.
Christelle. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Of course, Mafe and Ariane.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Does anybody have here in the audience, feel free to ask us any questions that you might have, especially if you want to, take off on some kind of a discussion around issues. And again, like we were saying, the nuances that have us concerned around our culture, around maybe what we're not aware of in our habits and behaviors as Filipino freelancers. But yes, Christine says, clarity resolves anxiety. Absolutely. And communication is key. So what I've observed is that, like Yona, I used to have my own agency when I was, before I became a coach. I also used to manage people's websites and establish their blogs and things like that. So I was I also had to work with people, virtual service providers. And there were instances where I encountered people who were not also clear in communicating where they were, what they wanted in terms of, things like how much they want to be paid and things like that. So those are underlying currents that can one way or another manifest negatively in that relationship. So maybe, Yona, we can speak to that, if we are going to expect from ourselves to work with global international clients, like for you, what is one quality that you look for when you are, let's say, maybe onboarding somebody into the team, or you are, let's say, put yourselves in the shoes of your client? Like, what is the absolute excellence quality that you are looking for from a team member or from a contractor in virtual services?
Yeah, great question. Absolute great question. And I think this is, this is something that a lot of people tend to take at face value. Just a quick hello to Ati Jang, who's just joined us. Thank you for joining us. And I guess one of the things that I look at is initiative. So initiative is an action, or it's something that we do. It's a quality, but underpinning that are values, right? Yes. So there's that communication, the value of that, accountability, responsibility. So I really look at initiative. So it's not about like, you don't wait to be told. Like, if you've got a great idea, you say it. Like, you'll be like, because, you know, as a leader, I'll be like, okay, can you do X, Y, Z? But if you come back and say, oh, you know what, I can X and Z sounds great, but Y, I think maybe we could do that a little bit. Can we do it a bit better? You know, could we do it this way? You know, you can suggest, right? And I just love that people have that initiative to, you know, just to make improvements, because it really shows them, it shows their personal values about looking at the bigger picture, looking at the current situation, looking at it, the bigger picture, because for them, you really can see that they want to, they've got vision, right? They've got vision to make improvements. So really, at the end of the day, just one quality of being to having initiative, it just like it shows so many things, so many layers about a person, which I find quite intriguing, because
I agree.
Just, you know, one behavior or the way we demonstrate something can just show so many layers of us, which is, yeah, it's I don't know. Is that something that you look at? What's something that you look at?
I think I would look for, I mean, one of my top qualities is that they have their own authority within themselves. So they are self-responsible. Self-responsible. I love the word self-responsible, because to me, it being self-responsible to me means that you are aware of who you are. You're also aware of your tendencies.
Yeah.
So a person who's aware of their tendencies will also be aware of their weaknesses. And if you're aware of your weaknesses and you're the type of person that has initiative, which is the quality that you were talking about, then you will create the conditions so that that weakness can be turned around into a strength. And that's what I love about one of the components of EVS, the Academy per se, is because one of the things that you have really integrated in there is the foundations. You know, the foundations that all empowered virtual assistants would be, you know, beholden to have even before they sign on their first client. Because when you are embodying this idea of self-responsibility, then your mindset is no longer an afterthought. It is a core component of your higher ability. So for me, self-responsibility, number one.
I love that. I love that.
For being hireable. Right, ladies? Ariane says, yes, turn your weakness into strengths. Yes. Thank you.
I think we're getting lots of love hearts. So I know. I'm taking that as a positive and agreement. So I love that. Thank you.
It's an affirmation. So we're doing the right thing.
Exactly. Well, you know, I'm conscious of the fact that we're now going on to our 30-minute mark, and you know, we said that we would create this space within the 30-minute container, like what we said, because we respect each other's time. Absolutely. And we respect our viewers' time as well. So, you know, I want to just quickly touch on the point that I want to just point out the fact that Martine and I, we chose not to use the words, any negative words. We've chosen to frame or to speak about the issues or the topics at hand using language that we actually want to see. So I suppose what we all have the ability to do, and the control that we have, is that the language that we speak and the language that we use to ourselves as well as to others is very important, because it actually creates the space, it creates the interaction, it creates the relationships, and strengthens them. So Martine and I were conscious of the fact that we will be speaking about these topics, but we will do it in a way where we are actually promoting the behaviors that we want to see. So I really hope that everybody you know, has enjoyed our first show. Martine, we've finally been speaking about this.
For a couple months now, yeah.
And I'm so excited that, you said yes when we were talking about it, and that, we're going to be talking about this on a monthly basis. And yeah, I'm super excited that you're on this journey with myself as a leader, as well as EVS and Kaya Services, because I know how much, how much like time and effort and heart that you put into, really empowering women and empowering people to be the best that they can be, and to be a leader, of course. So thank you again. But yeah, so yeah, thank you, Martine, and thank you to everybody.
Thanks, everybody,
for joining us today. And you'll catch us again in the future. And again, it's let's continue to be mindful, like to ensure that we focus on our mindset and motivation, so that we can be the best that we can be. We can do better and be better every single day. So thank you, Martine.
And thank you to you, Yona. And guys, if you have any ideas that you would like for us to talk about, send them in to facebook.com/empowered virtual services. We can't wait to hold the space for you next month. So this will be monthly. So we're just excited to really help elevate and help the Filipino virtual service provider to be the most excellent service provider in the world.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Martine. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy your weekend. See you again.
Bye.